You ever notice how fucking carb burners have to eat like every 2 fucking hours? And even after they eat, they're already planning their next fucking meal. It's not fucking normal. It's not. No matter what the fuck your argument is for, it's not fucking a normal human condition to have to eat every fucking 2 hours. It's just, you're insane. You're fucking insane. So, I'm back from DC. I'm getting caught up. I just edited a huge video for 18 hours yesterday to put on YouTube for the Washington, D.C. adventure video. And I noticed several things on that trip that I don't know, that I'm normally not exposed to, but are pretty much a reminder of the state of our nutrition out there in the world. And that is, carb burners have to fucking eat all the time. Your entire day as a carb burner is planned around when you're gonna fucking eat. And even while you're eating, you're planning further meals down the line. And then when you're not having meals, you're having snacks. Yeah, Christy, if you're watching, I'm talking shit. This is the talking shit video, Christy. If you're not comfortable with me talking shit, turn off the video. Anyways, snacks are not a requirement to survive. If you miss a meal, you're not going to drop dead, no matter what age you are, no matter what walk of life you're in. It's not a fucking emergency. It doesn't require going out of your way, spending fuck tons of money. It doesn't require any real action on your part. Now, I realize because of your hormonal situations as a carb burner that you are going to be involuntarily predisposed to being fucking ravenously hungry whenever your blood sugar drops below a certain level or I hear all these arguments, by the way, and people fail to realize that I did 2 years of this, of intermittent fasting with the standard American diet as a carb burner. So I know exactly how the hunger pangs go, and they're nowhere near as severe as some people make them out to be. It's okay to be a little uncomfortably hungry, and it tends to pass. It comes in waves. It's a hormonal thing. And it will pass. The situations where it won't pass is if you are legit in a caloric crisis. And, and to be fair to Christy, she had bariatric surgery, and therefore it's difficult for her to get the calories and has to eat a bunch of meals a day. However, the kids and just about everybody else in the general public, not so much a requirement. It's more of an addiction. It's more of eating food out of boredom, out of comfort, just because you get that mild, uncomfortable hunger feeling that will pass. If you wait it out, it goes away within probably about 45 minutes. You won't even be hungry anymore. You won't even be thinking about it. Ritualizing ourselves to eat 3 meals a day is not what we are as a species are designed to do. You carry 2,000 calories of glycogen as a sugar burner. That means you don't get to touch your fat until you've burned through most of the glycogen, mainly the glycogen in your liver, but the muscles to a greater degree as well. It's ridiculous the level that our society is promoting this snacking food mentality. And I think the biggest what really had me triggered was the Amish village, and the fact that not only are there soda signs here and there, their little store, which I would have figured would have been a little bit more wholesome, was complete a train wreck of processed foods and sugar and fructose that really have no nutritional value whatsoever and are just meant to addict you. They don't quench your thirst because you continue to be thirsty for hours on end. I noticed that when you drink Gatorade and soda as your means of hydration, you tend to need to drink it a lot to remain hydrated, whereas a bottle of water can last me an entire trip. Maybe 2 bottles of water if I'm really sweating and physically active. It's kind of sad when you are a slave to these addictions and hormones. It'll cost you money. It'll cost you time. You won't be able to give your full attention to things because you are going to be distracted thinking about getting food. A food obsession is a real thing. I've seen it in action. You know, and any idle time where you're not actively doing something, you're going to be thinking about, ooh, I might be hungry. Oh, I'm going to get food. And this is what has led us to the crisis of health problems that we are experiencing today. A lot of people don't want to admit that this is the contributing factor because it does put a little bit of responsibility on the individual for the things they do and the things they eat. I've heard all the excuses from carb burners. I've heard I can't do keto because I just can't give up certain foods. They're, you know, and it's not true. I've done it. And I used to think the same shit. I was like, I'll never give up fucking Pop-Tarts. I've got to have some fucking Pop-Tarts. I deserve Pop-Tarts. It's my right to have Pop-Tarts. I would use every fucking thing in the world. Now, I fast, therefore I can eat Pop-Tarts and glyphosate and shit. You know, and really we're just hurting ourselves when we do that. We're kind of rationalizing our bad nutrition behavior. And if you ever want to be healthy, truly healthy, you'll never get there like that. You'll never get there living cheat meal to cheat meal. And I had an extra cheat meal and I regret it because I have a little bit of a hive breakout on my arm. Seems to be getting a little better. Since I'm obviously not cheating anymore. If I were to continue to have cheat meals on the regular, I have no doubt my leaky gut is not cured, which is one of the things I was hoping to test. And sure enough, I have autoimmune responses if I eat too much bad food. I see people suffering with debilitating autoimmune diseases, blissfully unaware that 90% of their problem is the food that they eat, causing an autoimmune response. When these foods get into your bloodstream, your autoimmune system will go fucking nuts. You can look it up. Just look up leaky gut. Just look up the GAPS diet. That book really hones in on this. And it's not just necessarily even the macros, it's the chemicals and the industrial food system in general that is putting these things into our gut that puncture our gut lining and allow these things into our blood system, causing autoimmune problems. And now I know 100% certain that anytime I have an autoimmune response, it's because I ate something bad. And sure enough, when I stop that behavior, the autoimmune symptoms go away. I'm not allergic to fucking shit anymore once I stop eating bad shit. Which tells me that I need to not eat bad shit. And if I do eat bad shit, I got to resolve myself to the fact that these symptoms are going to return. But I see so many carb burners just suffering through them and often not even associate them with the foods that they eat. You know, and they just rule me out as some fucking crazy dickhead on the internet screaming keto all the time when there's more to it than that. It's not even necessarily a keto thing or a carnivore thing, though those diets tend to drastically reduce your exposure to these toxic processed foods that we're loading ourselves up with. And whenever I fuck up, my body lets me know now, and I'm in tune with it enough to know that it was because of something I ate. It really does pain me to see kids today walking the same road that I walked for most of my life, and their health often declining a lot faster than mine did. And it's not an isolate. I'm not singling out anybody here. It's something I observe whenever I go out in public and what people are feeding their children, and they're setting their children up to have a lower health span, to be in the medical system, to have allergies, to have asthma, to have arthritis, to have autism, to have all of these issues which are autoimmune related. It's a serious problem. And the kids aren't listening to this shit. There's every once in a while I get a young person that seems to understand these concepts. But for the most part, when I talk to younger folks nowadays, they could give two shits about what I'm saying. And they're, so entrenched in the advertised dogma of nutrition and, the propaganda that's put out by mainstream media that it's become, I don't know, it's like I'm some kind of nutritional conspiracy theorist, regardless of the fact that I've done this for 4 years. I've reversed numerous health conditions that I had, including obesity, and I'm not hungry all the time. I can eat, and on this trip, I did try and endeavor to take in a few more calories because I knew we were hiking 10 miles and I didn't want to drop my metabolism, which is what would happen if I did that level of physical activity and didn't compensate. But even then, I was probably up to 2 meals with one little snack per the entire day. I did try to keep up one day and have a third meal, and it really, I don't know, it didn't do much for me. And I came back, still I was down an extra pound when I came home. I lost a pound by being out there, which tells me I didn't consume enough calories for the level of physical activity. Thankfully, I'm now back to being sedentary, so I'm overeating and ramping my metabolism back up. A carb burner does not have that option. If they tank their metabolism by eating those shitty foods, and then they go back to being sedentary and eating those shitty foods, then their metabolism isn't going to ramp up in response to the increased caloric intake. It's just a fact of how our bodies respond with the standard American diet and these horrible foods. And I observed that no matter what level of physical activity that people have on this, they do not change their food intake to match their level of physical activity. As in, when you're riding in a car for 10 hours, you don't necessarily need to stop every couple hours and get some food. It's not a real thing that you need to do, It is what it is. There's nothing I'm going to say that's going to convince anybody that's a carb burner to change their ways. And like I've said in the past, you have to hit that health wall before you're even willing to consider it. But a lot of people I see, they've already hit the health wall and they're still not considering it. So, I don't know how to reach those people. I've tried numerous arguments, numerous things, and at this point people just rule me out as, oh, you're just, everything's keto, it's all keto, it's keto, you can't be anything else but keto. Oh, you got this problem, oh, it's keto. Oh, that problem, oh, you better fix it with keto. And that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying the standard American diet is the cause of these issues, and there's any number of better options. Not even just being keto and carnivore. That's what I choose. It's what I think works best for me. But the answer isn't, oh, I can't go keto, go back to eating fucking pizza and fructose and sugar and candy and soda. And that's stupid. All right. That's not how you do it. All right. If you can't be keto, there are still tons of better options. Just going whole foods would put you eons against. Cutting grain out of the diet. You're not keto because you can still have plenty of fruit and potatoes and all of that shit. But you'd really be doing yourself a favor, especially if you have autoimmune problems and depression and anxiety issues, to get rid of those foods. Whether or not you're fueled with carbs or fat is almost, it's more of a metabolic issue. If you don't struggle with obesity or fatty liver disease or these kinds of things, it really doesn't matter if you're a fat burner or a carb burner. You're just it's the difference between being hungry all the time and not. And if you're a carb burner, you are a slave to that blood sugar. You're a slave to the moment your brain senses a depletion of glycogen, it is going to prompt you to eat again. And unless you are a disciplined intermittent faster, you will likely succumb to that. And if you fast too often as a carb burner, or you fast for longer than 48 hours, you're going to be prone to binge eating in response. That's how bad it can get, and it happened to me. So you don't need to eat all the time. This is a new concept we adopted over the past 100 years, where we got to eat 3 meals a day. It's great for the food industry. It's great for all of these commodified foods that our industrial agriculture pushes down our throats while subsidized by the government. But it is bad for your health long term. There's no other way around this. You need to cut that shit out if you want to be healthy. If you don't want to spend your last years or even the last 20 to 30 years of your life in the healthcare system, then you need to start thinking about these things. And at the very least, get away from them processed foods that are everywhere. And it's hard to do when you're addicted to them. So the only way to fight that food addiction is abstinence from the addictive item. So if you're addicted to pizza, guess what you shouldn't be eating at all? Pizza. Oh, pizza's good. I love pizza. It's the perfect food. Fuck that shit. It's not the perfect food. It's the perfect way to an early fucking grave. But you might be like, well, I had a good run. I'm fucking able to get there. I'm good to go. Give me the pizza. I don't care if I die in 10 years. It's fucking great. It's pizza. I'm going to die happy. Well, you're not happy, first of all. You're going to be emotionally a mess. Then your physical health's going to fucking deteriorate. You're going to get put on all kinds of meds that cause all kinds of side effects that also drain all of your excess funds that isn't covered by your medical insurance, if you're fortunate enough to have medical insurance. And in the meantime, it's siphoning out all of this wealth out of you that you have worked so hard to achieve. At the same time, you're riding the blood sugar roller coaster so much that you can't enjoy life because you're too busy thinking about the next fucking meal. You're too busy consuming these processed foods to realize that it's robbing you of just about every facet of a quality life, of living a content, happy, good life. And it does so in sometimes subtle ways, but often it's ways that you just are just so food addicted, you ignore it. You don't do anything about it. You just keep trudging along, or you take your fucking pain pills for medication, for your headaches that you're going to constantly have on the processed food diet. You take Benadryl and all these prescription drugs because you're having all of these allergic and autoimmune problems while you're eating the standard American diet. Never once making the connection that if you fix the diet, you probably wouldn't have to take all those medications. I rarely get headaches. And when I get an autoimmune response, it's because I eat something fucked up from the standard American diet. And if I stop eating that, guess what happens? The allergies go away, and not once did I go down to the fucking drugstore to buy fucking Benadryl. Or go over to my doctor and saying, look, I keep breaking out like this. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to write you a fucking script after doing some unnecessary fucking tests on you that really don't prove anything. And they're going to fucking cause you More problems, more lost time, more lost quality of life. That is what you sacrifice when you sit down and you drink soda and eat fucking pizza all the time. You know, it's a sacrifice you are making that will take years of quality, of the ability to do the things both physically and mentally that you would do to live a fulfilling life. That you're being robbed of that by eating these foods all the time, with the dopamine hit that you get from those foods being the happiness that you seem to think that you're achieving when you eat these things. And I'm not speaking without experience here. I was slave to this exact issue, and it wasn't until I smacked that health wall that I had the forethought to go out and find out why these things were happening to me. And lo and behold, here I am today trying to share what I've learned with everyone around me in hopes to stopping them from falling off that health cliff. And there are certain times, there are certain points on that cliff that you can't come back from, even if you do subsequently fix your nutrition. So think about it. If you're watching this and you're a carb burner, or you keep constantly doing cheat days, or you try and justify the foods that you're eating to be a carb burner, that are mostly processed foods. If you're eating whole foods and you're feeling good and you're not having lots of symptoms and you're in touch with your body and everything's good, that's not who I'm talking to, because we all have different tolerances to different foods. I'm talking to the people that ignore their health problems in favor of a standard American diet or processed foods in general. And this includes processed food vegans, processed food ketos, and anybody that is eating processed foods, because processed foods are processed for a reason. They take real food out and put chemicals and crap in as filler, and then they sell it to you. And then they make it taste fucking phenomenal, so you get a huge dopamine hit while also simultaneously draining you of feeling satiated, because you can eat, can you eat just one potato chip? When you drink a Coca-Cola, are you fucking not thirsty for the next 2 hours? These are all things to consider. They're not designed to that. Coca-Cola has a bunch of salt in it. It's disguised by fucking 70 grams of fructose. They're getting smarter about it and giving you aspartame and other things. And even lately, they're starting to make moves on us ketos to suck us back into that sugar debacle. Ever since they realized we buy things like Halo Top, I'm seeing a sweetener now that has the same stevia erythritol mixed with cane sugar. And this happened to me the other day. I went to the supermarket to get my Splenda Naturals, which is just stevia and erythritol. That's the only two ingredients. Now I go in, and I bought the last one, and in its place was another sweetener that was stevia, erythritol, cane sugar, natural flavors, whatever the fuck natural flavors is. And somehow and somebody who's not kind of nutritionally oriented would look at that and be like, oh, this one tastes better, it's good, because you're getting that fucking dopamine hit from the cane sugar that's in it. And cane sugar is not healthy. You can have it in small doses if you're not addicted and not re-addict. I've learned that, to the point where you're just binging on sugary shit. But generally, that's very low amount, like under 20 grams per day. Anything under 20 grams a day, you won't get re-addicted. And you can remain ketogenic if that's the only carbs that you took in that day. But finding a product in the standard American diet that has just 20 grams of sugar or less, it's kind of difficult now. So they're trying, the food industry is trying to keep you coming back with these addictive qualities in their foods. And they will capitalize on the ketogenic. You're seeing more and more keto products in stores. You're seeing keto options on menus in restaurants. It's here to stay. The ketogenic diet is here to stay. with the profound amount of people reversing very serious health conditions with this diet, it's not going anywhere, and it will become more mainstream. However, as it becomes more mainstream, you're going to see a lot more ketogenic processed foods. And you don't need to eat those foods. They're great for a ketogenic cheat day, to where you're not really breaking your diet, but you're not doing yourself any health favors. And there's still a lot better option than a standard American diet cheat day. But they're still going to be taking out real food and putting in filler that may not break your ketosis, but can have other health problems. And I've known that because I'm sensitive to it. If I eat a bad food, I have autoimmune issues and depression issues. Now, thankfully, my recent cheat day debacles have not led to any re-addiction, so to speak. And they also haven't led to depression. I haven't had a depression issue since I quit drinking, so there's that, which is strong evidence that alcohol is a serious factor in my particular depression symptoms. And I don't know if I've cured that or if it's just in remission because I don't drink. But I do know I still have leaky gut thanks to this last cheat day, which I believe was a vegetable oil issue, which causes inflammation, which gets into my bloodstream and causes autoimmune responses such as hives. Thankfully, it was only a small amount. It was only on my arm and still kind of there. I had like a little bit of hives here and a little bit down here. And so I have to clean my act up and not have a cheat day for a while so that clears up. And be careful on the vegetable oil-based standard American diet foods, even if it's just potatoes in the future. I thought potatoes were kind of a safe cheat for me, but it's turning out, depends on how they're prepared, I guess. Or maybe potatoes are just something I can't have. We will see. I keep experimenting. I'm still going to stick with the 2 weeks minimum, but I'm not necessarily going to take advantage of that every 2 weeks and have a cheat meal. I'm just going to wait until an opportunity comes and have a cheat meal. Now, a lot of purists are going to be like, don't have cheat meals. Well, I'm here to tell you that some people can't survive on that, and maybe I include myself in that. Maybe it's the social issue. I like to enjoy a little bit of the poison that everyone around me is stuffing their faces with because I'm a fairly social individual. But, at the same time, I know exactly where I'm going wrong. I know exactly what the price of that cheat meal is. And it's different depending on what that cheat meal is. And I'm very careful with the things I have a cheat meal, and it's usually now just one cheat item. And it's something I can bounce back quickly from because I don't do it every day. I don't do it every weekend. I don't do it all the time. But if I do start doing it, it's very clear, if I do it every weekend or something like that, that I will slide back downhill in terms of my autoimmune problems. So that's just something to think about. But what the fuck do I know anyway? Because I'm not a fucking expert. I'm just a fucking asshole. Please like and subscribe for more shit, and I'll make more shit. Also, head to ScottTheTruckDriver.com. If you liked this video and you found it helpful, please leave a tip in the virtual tip jar, or for free, you can subscribe to my email list and stay informed for all the videos, content, and live streams and podcasts that I produce, not to mention access to the subscriber lounge where I upload videos that I don't post on YouTube or live streams replays that have fallen off of DLive because they go away after 7 days. You can also follow me on DLive to participate in the live streams. It's been very awesome over there, and those of you who have come over have been really great to hang out with, and you've been very supportive too and kept me producing content. I do want to say I'm a little behind on videos this week. I will try to crank out 5 before the end of the weekend, but we'll have to see how that goes going forward. So this is my second video this week, so I got 3 more to do before Sunday. If I don't make it, it'll get added to the following week. On top of, even if I'm fully funded for next week, I'll throw in the extra videos on top. So that's what I'm going to have to do if I fall behind on videos due to things like travel, which is the biggest reason I'm behind this week. And I do have client work this weekend, so it's looking pretty busy for me. I'll get the videos out. I'm committed to them, and you guys have been supporting me creating content, and I'm going to deliver the content that you want. So I'm sorry that I'm a little behind. I think I'm about 1 or 2 videos behind the curve this week. But that being said, as for live streams, I currently don't have one scheduled because I'm catching up with videos, but you never know. If you follow on DLive, I have been known to randomly just start streaming out of the blue. That's it. Please have a nice motherfucking day. And if you were thinking about going out and getting a snack because you're a standard American diet motherfucker and you watch this video and it's been a whole half hour and it reminded you that, hey, I need to go get food, that's a bad thing, all right? Think about other shit. Do other shit. Distract yourself. Don't succumb to the little hunger pang that'll pass. It'll pass. Have a nice motherfucking day. Shit. Fucking carb burners. I feel bad for you, I really do. I was one of you. But I've become enlightened. Or something.